What's up, learners? It's me, Saugat here, and welcome back. English Unit 1, Lesson 2, Literature of Respectable Women by Kate Chopin.
A Respectable Woman is a short story by Kate Chopin, first published in 1894. Kate Chopin is known for her exploration of female independence, societal expectations, and the complexities of human relationships, particularly within the confines of 19th century American society. Setting: the story is set in the late 19th century in Louisiana, which was a common backdrop for Chopin's works. It takes place in a rural, somewhat isolated environment, highlighting the traditional conservative values of the time, particularly around marriage and social respectability.
Plot: the story centers on Mrs. Baroda, a respectable woman married to a man named Mr. Baroda. The couple lives on a plantation, and Mrs. Baroda is initially portrayed as the ideal wife, conservative, well-mannered, and content in her life. The plot begins when her husband's old friend, Gouvernail, visits them. Mrs. Baroda is initially wary of Gouvernail, feeling uncomfortable with his flirtatious behavior and his influence over her husband. However, she becomes intrigued by him over time, and their interactions lead to an emotional and sexual tension that she has not experienced before. She struggles with her feelings of desire and guilt, feeling conflicted between her self-image as a respectable woman and the new emotions Alcée awakens in her. At the story's conclusion, she chooses to leave for a while, hoping the distance will help her reconcile her conflicting emotions. Main characters 1. Mrs. Baroda role, protagonist. Description: a refined, intelligent, and self-controlled woman who prides herself on being respectable. She is married to Gaston Baroda and lives on a plantation in Louisiana. When her husband's friend, Gouvernail, visits, she becomes emotionally and physically attracted to him, leading to an internal conflict between her desires and her identity as a loyal wife. 2. Gaston Baroda role, Mrs. Baroda's husband. Description: a kind, trusting man who is fond of his wife and respectful of her views. He invites his old friend Gouvernail to visit their home, unaware of the emotional turmoil it causes his wife. He sees Gouvernail as harmless and cannot understand Mrs. Baroda's discomfort. 3. Gouvernail role, Gaston's friend. Description: a quiet, introspective, and gentle man who works as a journalist. Though not conventionally attractive or charming, he unknowingly captures Mrs. Baroda's interest. His calm and reserved nature contrasts with her expectations and challenges her emotional stability.
Themes 1, Societal Expectations versus Personal Desire. One of the primary themes of A Respectable Woman is the inner conflict between societal expectations of respectability and personal desires. Mrs. Baroda's attraction to Gouvernail forces her to confront her own sexual identity and the tension between social propriety and personal fulfillment. 2. Marriage and identity. The story examines the role of women within marriage. Mrs. Baroda's relationship with her husband, Dr. Baroda, seems stable and predictable, but her emotional reaction to Alcée Robin reveals the complexity of her inner world. This suggests that marriage does not necessarily fulfill all of a woman's needs and desires. 3. Conformity versus individuality. Mrs. Baroda's internal conflict reflects the larger theme of societal expectations versus personal autonomy. Her struggle with the desire for Governor Arobin challenges the conventional idea of what it means to be a respectable woman in a conservative society. 4. The role of women. The story subtly critiques the limitations placed on women's roles and the ways in which these roles conflict with their personal growth and desires. Mrs. Baroda's evolving feelings and her decision to retreat highlight the tension between being a conventional wife and exploring one's deeper emotional and sexual identity.
Summary: A Respectable Woman by Kate Chopin is a story that revolves around the inner conflict of Mrs. Baroda, a married woman who experiences a complex emotional and physical attraction to her husband's friend, Gouvernail. The story takes place in Louisiana, where Mrs. Baroda and her husband, Mr. Baroda, live on a plantation. Mrs. Baroda is initially portrayed as the epitome of a respectable woman, conservative, composed, and entirely devoted to her husband. When Gouvernail visits the Barodas, Mrs. Baroda feels uneasy about his flirtatious nature and the way he behaves around her. She finds his charm unsettling, but is determined to remain polite and maintain her sense of propriety. As the story progresses, Mrs. Baroda's feelings toward Gouvernail become more complex. Despite her initial discomfort, she becomes attracted by him, drawn to his personality and confident manner. Gouvernail, aware of her growing attraction, continues to act in a flirtatious manner, which causes Mrs. Baroda to feel conflicted. She is torn between her emotions and her desire to uphold her identity as a respectable wife. She finds herself experiencing a kind of longing and desire that she never thought she would feel, especially for a man who is not her husband. The emotional tension reaches its peak when Mrs. Baroda finds herself alone with Gouvernail, and their interaction deepens. She begins to question her role as a wife and the societal expectations placed upon her as a respectable woman. Although she does not act on her attraction, the emotional charge between them is noticeable. She is left grappling with her desire and guilt, unable to reconcile the woman she is expected to be with the woman she feels herself becoming in the presence of Gouvernail. Her inner turmoil is evident as she reflects on her reaction to the situation. By the end of the story, Mrs. Baroda decides to withdraw and take a break from the situation by leaving for a while. She hopes that this physical distance from Gouvernail will allow her to regain her composure and resolve her feelings. She expresses a desire for time to sort herself out and regain her sense of control. The story ends ambiguously, with Mrs. Baroda's future actions uncertain, but it is clear that the encounter with Gouvernail has fundamentally changed her, highlighting the tensions between societal expectations, personal desires, and the complexity of human emotions. Thank you for watching today's lesson. I hope you found it clear, simple, and helpful for your studies. Remember, learning is not just about finishing chapters or passing exams. It's about understanding, growing, and building the skills that will help you in the future. Keep practicing, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Every small effort you make today will bring you closer to success tomorrow. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Edu Saugat so we can continue learning together. Until next time, keep learning, stay motivated, and make every day a step forward in your journey of